You may have heard earlier Natty mention a company that was going to talk about propane diol, and it's coming up right now. We're going to hear from Primient. Patrick, please.
Thank you. Hello, good morning. They formed a joint venture to start looking at producing a molecule 1,3-propane diol, 100% bio-based. Then this joint venture moved into Primient Covation LLC, and since 1st of March, we are a 100% Primient company. Primient, which is a leading producer in the production of industrial ingredients made from plant-based renewable materials, mainly fructose, dextrose materials that go into the Coca-Colas of this world, but have many more applications. Where are we based for the production of 1,3-propane diol? Loudon, Tennessee. And there's a very simple and easy reason for that. We're using corn as the base feedstock, industrial den corn, which is grown in the Midwest in the United States. Then the corn by train, by railway, goes all the way to Tennessee to the Primient location, where they produce, amongst many products, the dextrose. And 200 meters on the left side of this picture, that's where the Primient is. And then we have there our big fermentation plant, which has a 77,000 ton capacity with the possibility to grow with another 33,000 tons in the coming years. Like I've mentioned, starting from industrial den corn, 99% of all corn in the United States is industrial den corn. Only 1% is for food applications, basically the sweet corn that you might know from the barbecue and the canned sweet corn that we might have at the table. Huge fermentation towers, and then some final steps to refine it to a minimum purity of 99.7%. Molecule structure, 1,3-propane diol, its base chemistry, very small molecule. Think about your chemistry classes where you start with propane, butane, and then with all sorts of reactions, you start growing the type of polymer that you're getting. That's the whole idea with this product. Today I will discuss two things. One, the carbon footprint, and I will go over a whole bunch of applications which already today are in the market available or are in development. First, around life cycle assessment, our company Primient is very strong in supporting farmers in the US on regenerative agriculture. Regenerative agriculture has some outcomes which are very positive for nature. Reducing atmospheric CO2, improved soil health, and that second one, that's extremely important for farmers. Yeah? Farmers are business people. Yeah? If they don't get proper yields and they cannot make money, well, then it's game over. Yeah? Think about what happened with the tariffs, and all of a sudden the soybean farmers in the US were out of customers. Yeah? So, but improved soil health will help them to grow the yield. And if you grow yields, it has two effects. More money for the farmer, lower carbon footprint, because you only run once with the tractor over the field when you're fertilizing the field or when you're working on the field. So higher yields, very effective, and you will see that in our life cycle assessment carbon footprint data. Biodiversity, also very important. This is linked with land use change. We always talk about rainforest, but let's not forget grasslands. We need to keep them intact as well. Yeah? So grasslands in the US, they're huge, but what we want is to have farmers having higher yields so that they don't need to take additional grassland to grow their amount of product that they can produce. Yeah? In that way, we are also helping the biodiversity. So I go straight to the life cycle assessment that was done by a third party True North. And you see the four elements, fossil carbon, which is of course a red one. Then I go to the right-hand side, land transformation. There is zero land transformation for the industrial corn where we are linked with. So no new land has been taken to grow more industrial den corn. Then the CO2 uptake, minus 2.38, and then the biogenic carbon, which is embedded in the molecule. This adds up to a 0.709, so still having the biogenic carbon not taken as a negative. How does that compare with similar type of molecules? Here you see it. On the right-hand side, fossil 1,4-butane-diol, which roughly 5.12 is the lowest number that we could find, because in a lot of cases produced in China, still based on energy coming from coal, then it's going to 20 kg CO2 equivalents, but we took the lowest number we had. Fossil propylene glycol, 4.43, again the lowest number that we could find, our number 0.709. This means that if you're able to embed 1,3-propane-diol in your chemistry, you can substantially reduce your carbon footprint, your scope 3 emissions. Some cases it's just used as a co-solvent. In many other cases it is a reactive chemistry. So let's go over some applications. We have two brands, Zemea and Susterra. Zemea is the super duper purified product that is used in cosmetics. Now, it's used in a lot of cases to replace propylene glycol, but it also has a performance aspect. And you'll see if you look at the screen that in that circle you have some of the aspects where the L'Oreals of this world are looking at. Skin moisturization, I'm not a specialist in that, but I bet that many people in here in the room are using our product because of this purpose, but not knowing in which brand it is sitting. It's also considered as a preservative booster. Not a preservative on its own, but it's helping the effectivity of the preservation. And you'll see there's a very different types of functionality that it can bring. And of course, as a carrier, bio-solvent versus propylene glycol as a solvent in a lot of cosmetics types of products. So you'll see the list: skincare, baby care, color cosmetics, sunscreens, hair care, a whole list where the cosmetics world is working on. If we then switch towards Susterra, which is the industrial brand, a little bit less pure, but you almost don't see the difference because it's still 99.7% as a minimal purity. Can be used as a pure product mixed with water and with some anti-corrosion materials for functional fluid applications. Think about breweries that are cooling today with propylene glycol water mixtures. They can replace the propylene glycol with 1,3-propane-diol. A whole bunch of systems, and of course, today with the popping up data centers that are generating more and more heat, they need to have much more efficient cooling and more environmental friendly cooling. So if you're in that area thinking about, I want to cool environmental friendly and have an impact on my carbon footprint, this is the right product to be used because it's performing very well. Especially the lower the temperatures are going, the better it is performing. So then if we look at a building block in reactive chemistry, because of the 2OH molecules, then there's a whole range of possibilities. If we look into the coatings, adhesives, and ink space, it's a building block for producing types of resins like polyesters, alkyd binders, polyurethanes, epoxy systems. You can also make reactive diluents out of it by difunctionalizing it. And then it can be used also as a biosolvent in architectural coatings if paint producers have issues, for instance, with open time because of the climate, because of the reduction of the VOCs in the systems nowadays. So that's just a snapshot, and for all of these applications, we have done application work. So we have data available that we can help the coatings industry, adhesives and inks industry to become more environmental friendly by bringing in bio-based content, but also at the same time reducing the carbon footprint. If we go a little bit further, our product is polymerized to polyether polyol by the company SK Chemicals. And here on the list, you see a whole bunch of applications, but very interesting is that nowadays, if you drive an EV car and it's a Kia or a Hyundai top range, you are sitting in 1,3-PDO-based material because the leather seating has parts that are using this pure 3G polyether polyol in the polyurethane systems. you'll see a whole range of possibilities going from insoles and midsoles for running shoes. So a whole bunch that it's way too much to talk about here. Car manufacturers, they're present here. A lot of PU, TPU materials. You'll see on the right-hand side what the possibilities are to bring bio-based content and reduce carbon footprint besides the EV car type of thing. So very simple. If you're looking to, first of all, bring in bio-renewable content and combine that with reducing your carbon footprint, replacing either a butanediol from fossil origin with 1,3-PDO has a big possibility to reduce carbon footprint and bring in bio-renewable, and the same in the case of ethylene glycol, propylene glycol. So feel free to stop by. I'm at MS04, have the possibility to talk to you in much more detail on the different applications. But the time is now to look at the portfolio, especially what is happening in the world. Thank you very much for your time.